Hello, boys and girls. I will be starting on Miss Costas lesson 1 here. It starts on slide 8. The objectives are to use the close reading strategies to determine what the text says explicitly. Moving down to slide 9, it says during reading, you will be able to use the following close reading strategies by 1. Using underlined key details to answer a text-dependent question. 2. Writing the main points of each section using the guiding question, excuse me, and the highlighted key details. Number 3, highlighting the unknown words and using context clues to figure out the meaning. Number 4, using the word bank in the next page to know the meaning of the highlighted words in the story. And 5, to reread to answer questions. So if we go to slide 10, you will see a word bank. It says use the word bank to know the meaning of the yellow highlighted words in the story. Our first word is grasp, and that means to seize and hold firmly. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. I would grasp this pen. A synonym for it is grab. The part of speech is a verb, and an example is she is grasping the bottle. The next word is hunch over, and the definition is to round one's back by bending forward and drawing the shoulders forward. So that would look like this, kind of hunch over. Maybe you hunch over your computer, or you hunch over your plate when you're eating. A synonym is hump, and a part of speech is a verb. And an example is she learned forward, hunching over the desk. The last word is British, and those are the people of Great Britain or the United Kingdom. A synonym is English, and the part of speech is a noun because it's a person that we're talking about. And the example is in 1918, British women got the right to vote. On slide number 11, there are instructions going forward. It says reread the story and write the main points of each section using the guided questions and the red highlighted key details. This story is called The Pocket Watch. Number 1 says, Margaret had gone out to the barn to fetch a pail of milk. On her way back inside, she gazed at the green and peaceful fields of her family's Connecticut farm. It was a sunny, mild day in April 1775, so calm compared to what Margaret feared might be coming. For just last week, fighting had erupted between the British and the colonists in the towns of Lexington and Concord. Margaret wondered if there would be more fighting. Now the key question is, what does the red underlined details reveal about Margaret? What event caused Margaret to feel that way? What is the main point? You will write it on those lines. Number 2 says, grasping the pail of milk, Margaret turned toward the house and went through the back door and into the kitchen where her mother was preparing supper. The quiet she had experienced outside was shattered almost as soon as she set down the pail. Her 2 younger brothers were in the front room, began shouting and arguing. The sounds of a struggle began. Question 1, paraphrase the sentence. How does the highlighted sentence help you predict what will happen next? Main point. You will write on the line there. Number 3, Margaret and her mother went into the dark, dusty front room to see what the fight was about. George, the younger of the 2, was hunched over and clutching something shiny in his hand. William, a head taller than George, was clambering over his little brother and trying to pry the shiny objects loose. It's mine, shouted George, pulling away from his brother. Father said I could carry it today. Why should you get it? I'm older, shouted William. It's mine by right. Question, why are George and William fighting? What is the main point? Please write it on the line. On slide 13 now we see, boys, said their mother, how can you fight over a timepiece when some of our neighbors have just lost their lives fighting the British? George and William looked at each other and then looked down, ashamed. Margaret was glad when the 2 promptly apologized to each other and admitted it didn't really matter who got to carry the watch. Brother, they agreed, should not fight brother. And the question here is, how did the mother stop the fight? And you'll write the main point on the lines. And then below that it says use the main points to summarize the story in a sentence. So that's the end of lesson 1. I hope that the video was helpful, and good luck with your work.